Alright guys, yeah, I'll see you next week. Alright, what was that? Pfft, as if beginner's luck. Said beginner's luck. Well, it's on next week, you know. I've got you. I've got your number. Alright, yeah, take care. I'll see you next week. Beat me in my own game. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you standing there. Are you okay? Can I help you with anything? Sure, I mean, wow, that's great. So your friend's looking for a board game for their birthday. That's awesome. Your friend sounds so awesome. What kind of thing are they into? Okay, you're not really sure. Okay, that's totally fine. This is why places like this exist. Here we have a menagerie of board games. I'm a board game connoisseur, can't you tell? And this is my little corner of heaven for board game junkies out there. So I am absolutely 100% sure we'll be able to find you a board game for your friend. Now, there are a couple of different types of board games, and some people get on better with one type and other people get on okay with the other type. And basically it's like really simple, kind of not too complicated, kind of straightforward games. And then you have the more complicated, huge elaborate setups, like role-playing games with like lots of people. So what kind of thing do you think your friend would prefer? Okay, so in that case, you know what? Let me show you what we have. Then maybe what I'll do is I'll kind of demonstrate some of them to you, and then you can decide which one you think will be right for your friend. How does that sound? Don't worry about it. I've got all the time in the world. I'm more than happy to spend this time with you, just showing you my board games, and you know, I love board games, so I would be honoured to just bend your ear about which ones are good. Well, they're all good, but which ones I feel are my favourites and what would be good for your friend. What's that? Oh, my glasses. Yeah, they don't have any glass in them, but shh, it makes me look more geeky. So, simple games first, I think that would be good. Okay, I've got one. You cannot go wrong with Geisters. Geisters Blitz. Now this is a German game, and it's a tactile game for, well, it says on here like 8 players plus, and the last time I played this, I think we had about 20 people playing this game. So honestly, more the merrier. You could probably play this game by yourself as well. Yeah, if you really wanted to get really good at it, I would recommend you do that, because then you can just, it's like muscle memory, this game. But anyway, I'm rambling. Geisters. So basically, you have these little totems here. You have the white ghost, green bottle, red chair, blue book, and grey mouse. Then you have these cards which represent, well, depict each individual token. However, there's a catch. You have to pick up what is perfectly represented on the card or what isn't there whatsoever. Does that make any sense? Well, I'll show you how to play it in a little bit, but basically you flip over a card, you grab the item that it represents, and then whoever grabs it first wins that card, and whoever at the end of it has the most cards is the winner. Now, as you can imagine, put 8 plus people into the mix on this game, it becomes incredibly violent. You have like 8 hands rushing in to grab the totem. You know, if you've got long nails, it can be particularly dangerous. So this one is fun for the whole family. Like, even kids can play this. Like, it's really easy to pick up, really easy to understand, super easy to play, and really, really addictive once you get the hang of it. And especially when you get the hang of it and you get good at it, your reflexes just become so much quicker. So I would really, really recommend this to anyone if they're kind of getting started in board games or are unsure of what to buy. This is awesome. And you can get add-ons to them, which, I mean, that's just epic, right? You can put them all together and make like a giant Easter's game, or you can just play them like individually, on their own, together, like whatever takes your fancy. There's more rules in this one. It's not just a case of grabbing what you see, it's a case of like grabbing what you don't see and other factors that contribute into it. I know, right? And it's super cool. So there's Geisters. So that's like the tactile, like fun, grabby kind of game. Now, if you want something a little bit more with skill involved, I would say Rhino Hero is the one for you. Now, this is the Rhino Hero Super Battle, which is like a larger version of the original Rhino Hero, which comes in like a smaller box. I just have the big one. It just looks more impressive. And basically, let's flip this guy over. You have cards, and I think it's like two to 4 players. Again, you could probably play this by yourself if you wanted to get really good, or you have like a free 5 minutes, or I don't know, you're bored or something. Basically, what you do is you each have these like floor cards, and these are your wall cards, and you have to build the tower as high as it can go. And you have each of these little totems here, which represent your character. And you roll the dice and see how many layers you can climb. However, there's a catch. You're playing against your other competitors, who also have a little totem. Now, if you land on the floor that somebody else has landed on, then you have to fight. And if the winner rolls the dice and it's the higher number, then they stay where they are. But if you roll the dice and it's lower than your competitors, you have to go to the bottom. Now, it's all about being on top, right? And the winner is basically the person who is on the highest level before you basically run out of cards or somebody else knocks down the tower. As you can see, it wouldn't pass any building regulations, I can tell you that. And I guess it's like Jenga, but a bit more sophisticated. Also, you have these pesky monkeys, which you have to hang on the layers. And of course, if you can imagine, hanging them on the layers kind of weakens the structural integrity of that layer, which makes it more unstable and more prone to topple. So Rhino Hero is again something that anybody could pick up, anybody who has a steady hand, I would say. Kids totally will be able to play this, adults, anyone. It's again, suitable for the whole family. And it's a nice tactile game, so you're using your hands more than your head, I would say. Alright, so that's Rhino Hero. What's another tactile game? So this one, I would say. Are you a bit of a film buff? Do you remember Blockbuster, or was this before or after your time? Do you know, I was never allowed to go into Blockbuster, if I remember. We didn't really have one near where I lived. It was like in the next town across, but we had this like cheaper version of Blockbuster. It was a video rental place, but it wasn't Blockbuster. I think I only went into Blockbuster maybe once, but I never rented a video or anything. Anyway, I'm rambling. Blockbuster. It's kind of a tactile game because you have to kind of click a buzzer. And what you have to do is you run two teams, one against the other, and you and your fellow teammates have to act one word and quote one of these cards on the bottom. So basically you're the only one who knows, and for your team members who are totally clueless, you have to act out the movie, then you have to quote out the next movie and explain in one word the other movie whilst the timer is ticking. So each card that your team correctly answer, you win, and the others are free for the other team to guess because obviously they've been listening to your attempts. So it's a really like time-sensitive game. You get quite like hyperactive with it, especially if you're like, oh, I know what it is, but I can't think of it right now, or your teammate just can't act for toffee. It's really, really fun. So again, it's good for like 4 players. Obviously, you probably couldn't do it by yourself. You'd need another person. Actually, yeah, you'd need 4 people. Age-wise, I would say it recommends 12 plus, which is probably a good age unless you've got like a 10-year-old who knows every single thing about film. But yeah, it's a great party game for like, you know, those tipsy evenings with your friends. Alright, cool. So, let me have a look. So, if you're thinking of something a little bit more challenging, like mentally, not necessarily physically. Okay. This one has to be the best. So have you heard of social deduction games? Okay, so basically there's a group of people. In essence, this is what it is. In essence, there's a group of people and either one or two of you are bad guys, and it's up to the collective group to figure out who these bad guys are before they ruin the main objective. That's pretty much how it goes. Now the resistance is awesome for this because you get in a group, I think it's like 5 players. Yes, you have to have a minimum of 5 players because there's 2 spies and 3 resistance members. So what you have to do, you get given a card at the beginning. You each look at your card to see if you're resistance or a spy. You then all close your eyes. Then the spies open their eyes, look to find out who their fellow spy is. Everybody closes their eyes again, and then everyone opens their eyes again, and the game begins. And you have 5 missions, which are just, you know, hypothetical made-up missions. There's no actual doing anything. And you basically have to approve or deny the mission. And it's the job of the spies to fail at least like 3 missions, and then the spies have won. and throughout the whole game, it's up to the resistance to sniff out who the spies are. But the spies lie, and the spies work as a team to achieve their objective, which is to kind of ruin everyone's day. So this is so good for, again, group get-togethers, parties with friends. It's really simple to get the hang of. There's no, like, bits and bobs, you have to kind of figure out. It's really straightforward. I suppose you could probably even do it without the board game, because it's one of those games that you can play without any props, but the props help. So this is just so fun, and it really makes you think about your friends. It questions your relationship with them as well, because obviously this is a board game where you're expected to lie. So you're looking at your friend like, you're definitely not the spy. I know you, I feel you. And then it turns out that they are, and you're like, how could you? You just feel so betrayed. It's amazing. So that's resistance. And you get expansion packs as well, so you can add to it. Because once you've played it like maybe 10 times, you kind of get used to like a pattern of working and a way that, the spies can win. So this kind of thickens the plot, so to say. So again, there's like expansion packs should you get to the point where you need them. Okay, so that's the resistance. And what else? Oh yes, so kind of exactly the same as that is this Salem board game, and it's the same principle, but instead of spies and resistance, it's witches and townsfolk, and it gets really bloody really quick. It's really good. What else? So those are the social deduction games. We have, of course, the kind of standard board games. I don't know if you've heard of Risk, but Risk is basically world domination. It's one player against another. You basically have armies which invade countries, and the winner is the person who dominates the world. It's pretty simple. But if you're looking for something a little bit more complicated and a little bit more time consuming, then I can recommend one of two games. Well, I can recommend both games. But we have Jaws and Jurassic Park. Now, these two games are essentially like similar in their nature, because it's about the good guys versus the monsters. So for Jaws, and you can tell I like Jaws. So with Jaws, it's basically Brody, Hooper and Quint against the shark. And there's two parts to this game. On the mainland and on the orca at the end. And it's quite complicated to kind of set up and learn. But again, once you get the hang of it, it's actually just really, really straightforward and actually really fun. It's much better to be the shark, in my opinion, because it's quite satisfying to eat all the swimmers. And the three characters do have a bit of a hard time to kind of fend off this killer shark. So it's basically a 3 against 1 situation, so you need 4 players. And I really like it because it's so old school. With the shark, you actually have to have a pencil and a pad to write down where you are and what moves you make. So I really, really love that because it's like so tactile, and there's like all different bits that you need and cards and tokens and stuff like that. It's really, really fun. I haven't lost as the shark yet. Oh no, wait, I have. You know those guys? Yeah, those guys come here every week, and I introduce them to this Jaws board game. And for some reason, I wasn't feeling it as the shark. I'm normally just eating up all the swimmers, but hey, I think it was the new guy. Yeah, beginner's luck. It's okay, I'll thrash them next week. Alright, so that's Jaws. And pretty much it's the same for this, but there's more characters in this. So it's 3 dinosaurs against well, imagine all the characters in Jurassic Park. That's how many people there are. But you don't need that many people to play. I think you can just do 2 players for this. So you have to get to the helicopter, your character tokens, before the dinosaurs eat you. And the dinosaurs are very crafty, so they know all the good ways to chomp you. So that's Jurassic Park. But out of the 2, I prefer Jaws, if I'm honest. Now, the last board game I want to show you is one that is super complicated, and it's called Dead of Winter. Now, this game is pretty much a zombie survival game. You play a group of survivors trying to survive against the zombie apocalypse, but a whole lot of bad things happen and there's a whole lot of zombies. This is super complicated to set up and it takes hours to play, so if you've got good patience, then it's definitely well worth it. And there's also an element of social deduction in this game as well, because if you have quite a few players, then you play characters who are trying to sabotage your survival prospects. But I've only played it with one other person, and it's still super hard to play. But it's quite satisfying, especially when you're building your community. You have to remember to feed everybody, you have to remember to take down the zombies, build barriers, that sort of thing. So it's very, very involved, but again, super fun once you get the hang of it. Right, let's just put you there. So the question is, which board game are you going to choose? Well, how about I show you a couple of them? Maybe I won't show you the 2 complicated ones because, like I say, they take a long time to set up and they're probably not best for newbie kind of people who are getting into board games. I always recommend a board game that everybody can play and doesn't take too long to get into because they're always the best kind, right? Alright, so if you just take a seat at the table, then I will grab a game and set it up and show you how to play it. Cool. Alrighty, so I'm going to show you how to play Geistes Splits, or I just call it Snatch and Grab, because I'm not really sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But anyway, are you sitting comfortably? You might want to get a little bit closer to this. Alright. So, we have 5 tokens. We have the green bottle. We have the red chair. We have the blue book. We have the grey mouse. And we have the white ghost. Now, this little fella used to have a face, but years of grabbing and sweaty palms have caused his little happy, mischievous face to wear off. So he looks more like a suppository now than anything. So that's the white ghost. You get a deck of cards. You shuffle the cards. You, reposition the tokens where you can reach them, and there's always one person that puts them closer to them. They're the cheats. So, each player in turn takes a card and lays it face up. And it's the first person to correctly grab what is shown or not shown on the card. So for instance, this one, you see a ghost, so you know it's not the ghost because it's not white. You know it's not the red chair because the colour red is there. You know it's not the book because the book isn't there, and it's not the mouse because the mouse isn't there. But what is there is the green bottle, which is perfectly represented. So that's an easy one. So whoever grabs the green bottle first is the winner of that card. Now, if somebody, for instance, picked up the ghost, which was incorrect, whatever cards they have in their hand, they have to give one to the winner. Okay? So let's do this one. This should be another easy one. Yes, it is the red chair because the red chair is perfectly represented. Let's try another one. Red chair. Good. Now this one is a hard one. Nothing is 100% represented. So it's not the ghost because it's the wrong colour. It's not the mouse because the mouse isn't there, but the colour is. It's not the book because the book is there, but it's the wrong colour. And it's not the green bottle because the colour green is there. So by the power of deduction, which one do you think it is? That's right. So it's the red chair because the chair isn't there, nor is the colour red. Do you understand? Alright, let's try another one. Alright. So, it's not the chair, because the chair is there. It's not the green bottle, because the colour green is there. It's not the blue book, because the blue colour is there. And it's not the grey mouse, because the mouse is there. So by power of deduction, it is the white ghost. Okay? Do you think you have the hang of it? Okay. Right, let's play. Okay. So, let me just put these where you can reach them, okay? I'll go first. You can't see that. Okay. White ghost. Yep, that's right. So you win the card. White ghost again. That's right. red chair. Green bottle. Green bottle. Yes, grey mouse, well done. Alright, so you can tell that once you get on like a roll with it, it can become very, very fast paced. And like I say, if you have like a ton of people playing, then it can get pretty violent. So that is Geester's Boots. So what other game would you like me to show you? Something maybe a little bit more. Okay, I will show you this game, which is called Chameleon. Okay, so 3 players, and you get these topic cards. So this one's toys, this one's film genres, school, and you have a list of keywords. So for instance, Christmas, Father's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, blah 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 blah. And you get these cards, which show you different combinations of these 2 die. So you roll both of them at the same time. So if I roll them now, I've got a 3 and a 2. So I start with the yellow one, and that is 2, and 3 would be D3. And if I just take a topic, D3 is The Office TV show. Now, that's all well and good for somebody who has one of these cards, and each of the non-chameleon players has one. However, at random they are given out, and one of the players is given the chameleon card. So whilst somebody is rolling these dice, the other players are looking at what number it is, like that. But the poor chameleon has no idea what the word is. So the other players will be able to know exactly what the word is, and the chameleon has to pretend like they know. So once the word has been identified by the non-chameleon players, each person in turn has to say a word directly relating to this word without giving the game away. And it has to only be one word, and it can't contain a word within the word. So it can't be like office, because that would give it away. So everybody thinks of a word, and if somebody has the same word as you, you can of course say, I was going to choose that, but that might give you away as the chameleon, even if you're not, because that's a a standard trick for the chameleon to pull. Oh, that was the word I was going to use. So if you want to win as the chameleon, you have to think of a general word that fits the profile of as many of these as possible. For instance, you could say Netflix, but that would give it not very specific and may catch you out as the chameleon, because obviously all TV shows are on Netflix. You could say like HBO or comedy, something like that. And at the end of the round, once everybody has said their keyword, it is up to the group to deliberate and discuss who they think the chameleon is based on their answers. And here it's very good to read somebody's micro expressions, and it's a good chance to ask everybody a question. For instance, why did you choose that word? And it's really tough to answer without giving yourself away. And of course, the chameleon can lie and say, no, I know what the answer is. You know I know, right? So once the deliberation has come to an end, everybody votes who they think the chameleon is. And the person with the most votes has to expose their card. So if you expose somebody who isn't the chameleon, then the chameleon gets away. However, if you do expose the chameleon has one chance to save his skin by trying to guess what the word is based on everybody else's answers. And if they get it right, and if they guess right, so if they guess it was The Office, then they get away. So it's important that in your answer as a non-chameleon player, not to give the game away too much. So for instance, like you couldn't say Ricky Gervais because it would give the game away and make it obvious for the chameleon what the word was. So that is the chameleon, and it's a super fun game. Again, really simple to set up and really simple to play. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can make up your own topic and put in your own answers. So my favourite one for this would be family members. And you can write like Auntie Margaret, Nanny Liz, Uncle Brian. And it's very, very funny when you do this, because it would be interesting to see what one word people use to describe that particular family member. Or you can be very, very rude and do rude things. Which, oftentimes at parties, that's what it leads to. So, that is the chameleon. Alright, so, which one are you going to choose? Which one do you think your friend will like? Yay! I knew you were going to choose that. Easters. I tell you what, your friend is totally going to love it, and yeah, everybody who comes into contact with this game will love it. I'm absolutely confident. And I don't actually call it Geisters, I actually call it Snatch and Grab, because I feel like it's a better name for it, because obviously, yeah, you're like snatching and grabbing the pieces. So, you know, if anybody gets confused, like, what's that name of that game again? I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. Just call it snatch and grab. People will know what you're talking about. Alright, so I will package this up for you and just let me know if your friend likes it. We're open 6 days a week from 9 till 9, and you're free to come in, bring your own board games, have a coffee, have a drink, come with your friends. We're a welcome and friendly bunch here. You can just spend the whole day here playing board games to your heart's content. Alright, so I'll go package this up for you now.